Well, hey, everybody. Good evening. Man, it's getting brighter and brighter at night, which is great. The mood lighting is not as moody, which is always good, but we're getting excited about the summer. How many of you love summer? Like that's your jam? Yeah, okay, so everybody from Michigan, right? You survived winter. Your reward is summer. People ask me when I lived in Texas, why are Michigan folks always so happy? Oh, I've met a lot of people in Michigan. Why are they so happy? It's because when we all are in this together. You go through winter in Michigan, everybody's just glad you're alive because I didn't know if you'd make it. And if you didn't, I wouldn't know till spring because I'm not coming outside, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty excited for this warm weather. Crazy times right now, man. We got some crazy things happening at the church I'm very excited about. We got some crazy things happening in life. I mean, I got 3 kids. They're crazy. Baseball started, which might be the actual start of spring is baseball season. And so I'm coaching my kids' team. I was able to get both my sons on the same team and my nephew and my cousin's child. So I was doing some hardcore negotiating with the league management, but I finally got them all on the same team. And it might be the one year that's crazy. So we're excited about that. And there's just so much happening right now with the way that God is I just really feel like God is moving in the culture. I feel like the U.S. is getting ready. And people keep talking about the idea of a revival, I don't think it's a revival, y'all. I think it's an awakening. A revival means you go from dead to life. An awakening means you just woke up. Because we got a lot of people rolling in on a Sunday morning or a Thursday night that know about Jesus, but do they know Jesus? So that's why we started this church. We want you to know Jesus. It's not enough for me to know about Jesus. You can't go up to heaven and be like, hey, Jay, I know about you. And he's like, I don't know you, though. That's the problem we're going to have. We get up there. So this church, that's what we're about. We're about you growing in your faith with Jesus. Here's the best part. You don't have to email me about things you disagree with because that's between you and God. I will delete the email. All right? You don't have to email unless it's blasphemy. Then you should probably reach out, say something. Don't be shy on that part. Yeah, but I don't have to worry about your faith. What I have to do is I got to worry about getting you moving in your faith. Because we're in this series on Jonah, and there are 3 reasons you don't move. The first reason is what? Come on, I wrote it down. First reason is what? Inconvenient. It's not convenient to move. It's not convenient to go out of my way. It's not convenient to do the thing that you asked me to do. I don't wanna. And the words I used last week was, I'd rather not. Have you ever rather not? I'd rather not go out with you. You know what I mean? I'd rather not have dinner with you anywhere public where people can see us at the same time. I'd rather not watch that movie. I'd rather not go to that game. I'd rather not do this. I'd rather not do that. It's a normal condition of the human condition. You have preferences. That's okay. Okay, this isn't a smack you in the face for having preferences. But one of the reasons you may not move is because it's inconvenient to do so. You may not take that next step. You may not do that next thing because it's an inconvenience. I'd rather not. And there's 2 reasons underneath it being inconvenient that push into you. One, it could be costly. Time, talent, resources. It could cost you something to make a move. That's going to cost too much money. I don't want to do that. I'm going to have to go out of my way. I'm going to have to go out of this. I don't want to go the wrong. I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to be nice to them. I might have to, people might talk about me. Oh, no. As if they don't already. The other thing is it's uncomfortable. And when it's uncomfortable, what it really is it makes you feel kind of insecure, if we're being really honest. I've got a fear. That fear is causing discomfort within me, and that fear is driven by some sort of insecurity that is also connected to that fear. And so I don't want to go because it's not convenient. I don't want to spend the time, talent, or resources to do the thing. And I also am kind of uncomfortable doing the thing because it pulls me out of my comfort zone. It's actually stretching. It actually doesn't feel good all the time to be in that scenario. And this is an interesting part because God comes up to Jonah. Jonah was a prophet. This is not a new prophet. Jonah had been around the game for a while. He's not brand new to the scene. Jonah's getting called up by the prophet. He's getting called up. God's like, look, I want you to go to Nineveh. Nineveh at the time is would be Assyria's capital. Assyria, not Syria. Assyria's capital. And it was the wickedest city in the area. It was known for its wickedness. These guys did all sorts of stuff. I don't want to keep the list going. Like the idea of going to Nineveh was worse than the wrath of God to Jonah. Think about that. And this is a guy who like prophesied about the wrath of God and saw it. So Jonah does what everyone in the room does when something is really inconvenient, you'd rather not. Something's going to cost you something, maybe your life, right, or your finances, and I'm certainly not comfortable with going to Nineveh. Of all places, anywhere but there. This is how I feel driving through Ohio. Felt right. It was a good joke. It's not biblical, but it was good. Okay. But here's the point. Jonah gets called to go do something. I want you to go to Nineveh. I want you to tell them to repent. I want you to get them on the right track. And Jonah does the filtering process we all do, and then Jonah decides to run. And tonight, the conversation is run, baby, run. Because oftentimes in our lives, I'm going to skip to the end before I build the tension, you and I run from God's plan as opposed to toward God's plan because of these three things. You give less. You're less generous because it costs you something. You don't stop. I used to pull over at, see someone on the side of the road, I pull over. I carry a 2-ton jack in my car. It's never fun having to crawl up under the car and wheel that stupid thing. So I bought a jack and I stop and I pull over. I'll be on my way to a family event and I'm getting soaked in the rain because I got to do it. It's incredibly inconvenient with my kids and wife in the car while I'm getting rained on. But you know what really, really matters to me is this person probably not too convenient being pulled over with a dead tire that they're going to have to get under the car and be, you know what I mean? It's like I've got the means and I've got the situation. That's like, it's inconvenient, but it matters. See what I'm saying? This kind of thing is what we're talking about. Sometimes you get pulled into scenarios where it's like God's calling you to do something. And last week we talked about what calling looks like and what that actually kind of trickles down into. And I got the notes over here, but we're going to keep going because they only give me so much time. But there's this world where you got that tug in your heart where like you know what you need to do. And then there's like 80% of you knows what you want to do. And then 20% of you is like finding all the reasons not to do it. You know what I'm saying? And it could be something super simple. It's not like go to Africa or, go to Asia and go to China. Like, it's not like be a missionary. We're not talking about that kind of calling. We're talking about like, hey, you should reach out to that friend of yours. It like pops in your mind and you go, you know how you know you should is you go, oh, I should do that. Like you already affirm in yourself out loud, usually to somebody who's not understanding what's going on in there. And you just say, I should do that. Why? What? Where'd they come from? And if you do that, oh, I should reach out to that person. Oh, I should call them. Oh, I should text them. Oh, I should. And what the problem is like a lot of times what we do is we don't do it. We just should it. We say it out loud as what I should, and it's like, okay, great, I can check the box. But the reality is, it's like, we could just send that quick text. You can just send that quick email. You just make that quick phone call. There's all sorts of ways that you can do it, and I'm just trying to bring it down to something really, really practical. But oftentimes, here's what happens. You get that burning in you to do something, and you just run the other way and don't do it. And it's not because you're bad, you're not a bad person. Okay, there's not like, this is the one flaw you have to change about you. It's not this kind of sermon. It's that there's things that are just kind of inconvenient, like you'd have to stop what you're currently doing to do it because half of you, and fellas, I'm talking to you, won't remember later to do it. You'll say it out loud, hoping somebody wrote a note and assigns you a to-do. Because if I had one of my dear friends, I'm all over the place tonight. Good luck, y'all. I had one of my dear friends, his name is Jake. Jake would never text me back. And at the end of the night, his wife, Hannah, had to read his text messages to see if there was a question that he didn't answer, so he would answer it to the person that he texted. And the weird part was it was always me. And either I'm asking Jake way too many questions, or I need him to figure out his life. Those are the only two options. Like, why won't you just text me back? But he's like, oh, I went to do that, but then I got caught up, or I went to do, and I got, all these things. And so we get into these modes. where it's not that you necessarily decide I'm running from God. You don't say that, but it comes into your cerebellum, into your limbic system, and you start thinking I should do the thing, and then that's like kind of where it ends. And what we're finding here in Jonah is Jonah's going to step into an opportunity. Jonah is not a new prophet, and God is saying, I want you to go do your job. I got a message, and it's for Nineveh. Are you going to go? And so Jonah steps in. But Jonah ran away. This is verse 3. But Jonah ran away from the Lord, and he headed to Tarshish. He went down to Joppa, literally the opposite direction of Nineveh, by the way. It wasn't just like he ran away. He like literally ran the other way, okay? He goes left. He should have gone right. Down to Joppa, finds a ship to board that port. After paying the fare, he goes aboard, and he passes out, all in hopes that if I just wake up later, this will all have been a really bad dream, and I won't have to think about Nineveh. So he's passed out in a deep sleep. Ship's a rocking now. Things are going crazy. Everybody on the ship is kind of freaking out. What is going on? Everybody pray to whatever you got going on. I don't care what God you got, pray to him. One of these guys are going to answer this prayer because we're all going to die. And so they get to Jonah. Hey, this dude's sleeping. Maybe he's got a God, but Jonah's a known prophet. Okay? So then they pull him up, and you got to read this stuff within context. Jonah's a known prophet, and they look at him and they say, tell us, what do they say when they wake him up? Get up and call on your God. Get up and call on your God. Maybe he will take notice of us, and we won't perish. Meanwhile, these things are rocking. The boat's going up and down. They've got paddles in the water. Everybody's fighting the waves. Wind is probably surging. They're probably getting close to some sort of capsized situation. And they're like, would you at least pray to yours? Because we've heard things. This is an important part of the text that we just kind of overlook because we're so excited about the fish thing. Jonah wakes up, tells them who he believes in, tells him the Lord is God. I am a Hebrew and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the land, and this terrified them. And they ask, what have you done that we're on a boat with you? We thought you just wanted to go sailing somewhere else than where you were. Like maybe like you had a girlfriend that was mad at you or something. Like you didn't know you were running from God. And so then he gets into the conversation and he's like, I got one option, and the only option, you guys aren't going to like it. And they're like, well, what is the option? So you got to throw me overboard. And they're like, well, we're not going to throw you overboard. That's murder. Like, that's rude. You paid us money. It's like you paid us to kill you. That's weird. We can't do that, man. We can't throw you overboard. Try another one. Look, the one thing you got to do, look, it's my fault. I went left. I should have gone right. I was called to go to Nineveh. I didn't listen to God. I went the other way. So Jonah's like, you got one option, that's throw me over. They're like, we don't want to throw you over. He's like, throw me over. And they're like, why? You'll just fall over. He's like, no, you got to throw me. You got to toss me. Come on now. Come on, baby. It's in there. If you don't know Lord of the Rings quotes, I don't know what to do with all of you. This is not going to go well. Okay? Skylar loves Lord of the Rings. I know that. You and me, buddy. Sorry, I'm going to read the Bible now. Quit distracting me. Instead, the men did their best to row back to land. This is verse 13. But they could not, for the sea grew even wilder than before. So the more they're trying to fight it and get home, the sea is raging, which means that they're not fighting the sea anymore. These guys have now, this is interesting. I'm not trying to make a whole theology about this. Don't make a whole theology about this. It's a Brentism, okay? It's a Brentism. It's interesting to me that Jonah's disobedience now involves guys fighting the very waves that never would have been there if Jonah didn't disobey. The impact of a decision when you run impacts other people, whether you want it to or not. Isn't that interesting? You got to read that Bible. You got to pour some time and don't read just a story. Read it like God's trying to teach you something through this thing. Also, a really interesting piece before we go further. I don't want to forget this note. Jonah is one of the very few prophets that is actually, the story is actually referenced by Jesus, which is a very important note in the legitimacy of this story actually having happened. So a lot of people would think the Old Testament, some of the stories are like out there, they're outlandish, and like maybe they didn't happen. Like the reality that Jesus is referencing Jonah means something as well, just so you're aware. Okay, keep reading, Brent. Don't get stuck. For the sea grew wilder and wilder. We're in verse 14. And when they cried to the Lord, "O Lord, please do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing him. Do not let us die for taking this man's life. Do not hold us accountable for killing an innocent man. For you, O Lord, have done as you pleased. We're not out here trying to pick a fight with you, God. We're like, the prophet said to do it. Like, this is your guy. We acknowledge that this is your guy. We don't want to touch your guy, but we're being told to touch your guy and throw him over. So just want to keep this clear up and down. Like, let's keep, you know what I mean? Keep the deck clear. And so then they took Jonah and they threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. I don't know, instantaneous. I don't know if over time. I don't know if they throw him over, he hits the water, if it's boom. I don't know if there was like, whoa, was there like a slowdown period? I don't know. But here's what I do know. They take Jonah, do exactly as he said. The sea grows calm. At this, the men greatly feared who? God. Something's going on here. At this, they greatly feared God, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord, and they made vows to him. They don't even tell us what vows, which is incredible. They got so shook by this moment that they threw him overboard, and they all were like, I am changing everything. I'm doing things different now. Okay, I was that way, now I'm going to be this way. Like, this is a repentance moment. And they make vows to the Lord. And then the Lord provided a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. Gross. Disgusting. What did he eat? The only positive is that I think whales like swallow fish whole, you know? It's got like a little fire in the belly of the fish, you know? They got a little campfire going, cooking that up, or is he doing tuna? Is it straight up sushi in there? Just a little, takes a sliver of a rib or something like that, Steve. You know what I'm saying? Just get creative, y'all. Here's the question I have for you. It's interesting to me that Jonah doesn't want to go to Nineveh because it's inconvenient, costly, and he's uncomfortable. And so he runs from God, and where does he find himself? He finds himself really inconvenient, costly, and uncomfortable, which is a really interesting thing. When you start to draw that line, that sometimes the things that are really inconvenient, costly, and uncomfortable are actually the things that drive you toward a new life. Like, I don't know where you're at. I don't know how you started in your faith journey, okay? But let's pretend for a minute. Like, I just had lunch today with a guy. He's 82 years old, phenomenal dude. Really incredible leader, loves Jesus. He would tell me stories. He's like a mentor of mine. Like, he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be my mentor. Like, he's not sure that I'm like, I need you, you know? He used to be an outspoken atheist and currently like is in love with Jesus. And he tells that story about how he used to like preach atheism and then found God, and his life is so much better with God than it was without God. And it's like incredible, you know, like the blessings that come with that, like the peace. He goes, my life has not gotten easier with God, but my approach to life has gotten easier with God, because now I'm not in charge. I didn't have control anyway. You see what I'm saying? All the time we're over here like we got these things that it's like, oh, if I'm with God, it's going to be butterflies and rainbows, and I don't want to promise you that. What I can promise you is that when it's not butterflies and rainbows, you are not alone. That's the Bible. So this is an interesting thing. Jonah is running from something that has these 3 pieces to the puzzle. And in his running away from the God who is in control and has sovereign and is like with you, he finds himself in this exact same spot. I'm now in the belly of a fish, which I caught a barracuda in Florida. It's pretty cool. That thing stunk, dude. Like, it was disgusting. All I wanted to do was wash my hands. You know, and all I'm telling you is, like, if that's the smell that Jonah gets to sit in for 3 days, just I want you to think about what you just did. You know what I mean? Like, gross. But the interesting part is, if you look back in your life and you look at times where God called you to do something and you went the other way, maybe that was just called college, you know? Or maybe that was just that one time with that party with those, or maybe you were hanging out with those friends for that 6 months or whatever it was. And you tell me that you didn't end up somewhere where gross didn't happen. Like, you didn't feel gross. Like, you didn't want to fix some things. You didn't feel like you woke up one day, you looked in the mirror and you're like, I can't keep doing this. I had a situation like that. I had a situation in my life where I had a moment where I was pretty young. I wasn't going to church at the time. Like, I grew up in church and then I took a break. You know, me and the church need a minute. Okay, grew up and they all, you guys tell me what to do. You know, and I'm in my 20s, and I remember this moment pretty clear because it changed everything in my life. I was in a spot where I was dating this girl and I shouldn't have been dating her, and I knew that, but like, she was cool. And then I got to this spot where, like, one morning I woke up, I took a shower, I looked in the mirror, and I didn't even recognize myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like a piece of me was missing. And I could very easily tell you what it was. I hadn't picked up this book in a minute. Oops, don't worry about those. Those are just notes. The book, not the notes. I haven't picked this up. I wasn't reading it. I wasn't investing in my own faith. Like, I was taking what people taught me for over 18 years at the time. I think I was 20. What people taught me when I was 20 years old, 20 years of being taught in the church like this, some guy talking to me like I'm talking to you, and I was taking all of that stuff that I was learning, and I was building foundational truths off of it in my own life. And here's the crazy part about when you take stuff that I'm telling you and you build foundational truths off what I tell you without reading the book and letting God work in and through you, and without letting the Holy Spirit do what only the Holy Spirit can do, is that you start to build theology that doesn't make sense. You start building theology, you do things based out of convenience and out of comfort. And I stop being grown, and I stop being maneuvered, and I stop being stretched, because if I stretch myself, then it's going to cost me something. And if I keep doing that, this is the thing, is you have God in such a box in your brain because you were always taught something. You want to know what we call that word? We call that indoctrinated. There's this word out there that came out in the last 5 years because of COVID and all this stuff, deconstruct. This is a crazy word, like deconstruct, and it got this real bad rap, like, oh, I'm deconstructing my faith. I hate God. It's like, what? You did it wrong. Like, I don't know how you deconstructed that spot. Okay? You're supposed to deconstruct your faith by taking apart the boxes that you created for a God that is so much more infinite than your finite brain can comprehend. That's how you deconstruct something. And then you know what you do when you deconstruct something? You reconstruct the thing. If my foundation of my house is broken, what do I got to do? I got to go back and fix that foundation. You're going to have to take some walls off, reset those foundations, and then build yourself back up. Like, that's how, it's a whole thing. I got in the whole thing on deconstruct. Maybe we'll do a whole deal on, maybe I'll go on a rant. Who knows? Here's the point, is so many people started deconstructing their faith, and this is the wild thing, is they deconstructed their faith on TikTok and Instagram. And they started listening to snippets of pastors talk about things that don't even make sense in the context that they're in, and they built a whole theology around it. We do the same thing. Sarah Grace makes me look way smarter than I am. She takes the best part of the sermon, throws it on social media, and says, hey, everybody, look, we say good things. But there's a whole lot of context in the sermon. Go read the whole thing. There's a whole lot of context in the book. Go read the whole thing. Don't take a sliver and build a theology around it. That's why you got to read the Bible. You got to read it. And I don't like to read. Show me your text threads right now. Please. Some of you read more stupidity on Instagram by clicking on the whatever's underneath the picture than you do from the Bible, and that's crazy. Because you're still peddling the I don't like to read situation. Yeah, right. You just don't like to read things that you don't think are relevant. Which is why you need to read this book more than ever. I'm fired up today. I'm like trying to calm down, like actively. And I'm trying not to skip ahead because I know we all know the end of the story. I'm excited. Steve, calm me down, dude. It's just interesting. It's interesting to me that Jonah tries to run away because he's in this spot and he ends up in this spot. I don't know if that was God's plan. I actually know that the irony of the fish thing is going to be in play, and I'll tell you what I learned over the last couple of months as I was studying about Jonah next week. That's what I'm going to talk to you about next week. So I got to try not to give you a foreshadow here, but how many times in our lives do we miss what God is doing because of these three things? How many times, if this fish doesn't show up, and y'all know the story, if this fish doesn't show up, Jonah might have missed out on one of the craziest stories in this book. If Peter doesn't jump out on the water when Jesus says, come on out, he is now no longer one of the only two men to ever walk on water. As a matter of fact, if these disciples that come through in the New Testament don't follow Jesus when he says, come on, follow me. Well, where are we going? Yeah, everywhere. Why are you worried about where we're going? I thought you were more interested in following me. I think a lot of times in our lives, we have this idea that if God is in something, that it's just going to be magically convenient, not cost you anything, and super comfortable. But I've never known anybody grow without discomfort. How many of you lift weights? How many of you work out? How many of you run? If you're always comfortable, then you need to work out harder. You're not growing. You're maintaining status quo, which is ironic because every day you get older, your status quo has to go up. I see this dude, he's like 68 years old in the gym. He's just grinding it out. And I'm like, dude's built like a brick house. How old are you? 68. Okay. Good for you. He's throwing up weight. And he looks, I feel like maybe he built a whole house with his bare hands. I don't know. He just kind of looks like that kind of guy, But you see those people, it's just like these things, you're going to have to be uncomfortable to grow. My kids, they started running. My oldest son, he grew tall real quick. I don't know why. He just got tall quick. Skinning his knees all the time, hitting his toes, falling over, knees, elbows, blood. I mean, I should have taken out stock and Band-Aid. I could have made money on these investments. I mean, we're talking knees every day. Like, how do you skin knees? What are you doing? And I was like, pick up your feet, young man. Like, what are you doing? There he is, skinning his knees. I mean, this is a good couple years, and now he can fly. Learn how to run. Isn't that weird? You didn't know how to ride a bike once. You didn't know how to drive once. Some of you still don't, and we're going to talk about that later. That's a different thing. You didn't know how to cook once. First couple meals were rough. You know what I'm saying? You got to cook that chicken all the way through. I just don't know a world where we grow without being uncomfortable. I don't know a world where we grow and get into new spots in our life without a little inconvenience. I'm going to tell you an honest story. I did not want my wife to show up when she did. I was doing just fine. I was single. I had no desire to be in a relationship, which might have been the craziest time of my life. I wasn't even looking. I didn't even care. I had my dudes. We were doing dude things. We were jumping out of trees and stuff. It was awesome. Guys are great. Hey, go buy a big thing of Sour Patch Kids, bring it over, and let's play Xbox. That's dude stuff, right? It's not exclusive, but at the time, this was a different time. And then in this blonde hair girl walks in. She's got her lip ring and her skater pants. And man, I love her. Woo! I didn't know I wanted that until she walked in. And she ruined everything. It's super inconvenient. Here's the interesting thing. I don't even know my life without her now. If she's not around, I honestly don't know if I am functioning on 100%. I've got two really good friends who, like, when Dana's gone, they check in on me, and they know I can take care of their children. They're like, "Is like the house still there? Are you guys like, have you blown it up? Are you good?" Like, because sometimes when she's gone, half your brain's out. Like, you're just not here. I'm joking around a little bit, but I just don't know how you grow without a little discomfort. So here's my question, and this is really the push in, and I'm not trying to like make a whole Jonah and you and all that, go get a fish or whatever. I'm not trying to do that. Here's what I'm trying to do. What is God calling you to do right now that you're running from? What is God calling you to do that you're just not, you'd rather not, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't? You know? Like, I'm God, if I do that, it's going to cost me. If I speak that out loud to my spouse or to my husband or wife, like if I speak that out loud, they might like, I might be uncomfortable. I might be insecure. I might have some vulnerability. If I tell that to my girlfriend or boyfriend, no, I'm not interested in doing that anymore because there ain't no ring on and I don't want to, they might break up with me. And the question is the current state you're in better than the state you're heading toward? Because like Jonah ran away from what God specifically told him to do. And there's the thing, I'm not going to tell you what God's telling. I'm not putting God's voice on the thing. But you can't sleep at night. You're losing sleep. You got the 80-20 rule going on in your life. You've got people talking to you about it, and for some reason the things coming out of my mouth are affirming what you believe in you should do anyway. I don't even know what's going on in your world. I'm just preaching. The question is, what are you waiting for? Do you want to be like Jonah where you get just to the same spot you were? And here's the other thing too. This is the crazy part, and I'll be done here. I'll be done. The idea of being inconvenient, costly, and uncomfortable is what Jonah's running away from. And what he runs into is the reality of that. Okay? Because what God is doing in Nineveh, Jonah's a big part of. We know the rest of the story. He didn't know that at the time. You don't know the rest of the story. I remember breaking up with a girl just before I met Dana. And again, same girl. She was cool. Like, we had a lot of fun together. There's nothing like wrong with her, but it wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like getting further and further away from what I know I need to do and invest in my relationship with God and all that stuff. Like, it's a distraction from me investing in my relationship with God. And I remember the conversations we would have. And it was like the longer that relationship went, the more inconvenient, costly, and uncomfortable it felt. Like I didn't feel like me. But man, when I took that decision and I made that move, I found peace. Because one, I was like, look, God, whatever it is, I'm trusting that you got it squared away. I found joy. I got my boys. We got the Xbox. We got Sour Patch Kids. The trifecta. Okay? If you throw in a Little Caesars Hot and Ready in there, oh man, I am melted. And then this is the craziest thing. I got Dana. The greatest gift of my life came from just stepping out when God called me to step out. And it was hard because I had to break up with a girl that I really enjoyed. But if I didn't do that, I would not have my wife. I would not have those 3 munchkins. I would not have skinned knees. I would not have Archer's birthday tomorrow. Turn 6 tomorrow. I wouldn't have those memories. I wouldn't have that hand to hold. It would be completely different. All I did was just follow what God was telling me to do, and I knew it, and I knew it. And eventually I was like, fine, God, you're responsible now for the outcome of my life, and I pulled the trigger. And let me tell you, it's going great. We're like 18 years away from that decision. and I'm doing just fine. Actually, I'm thriving, man. I'm not doing just fine. I'm kicking it. I'm doing awesome. I can say the same if I was with that other girl. Not because of her, but because of us. It wasn't right. So here's my question to you. This is not a breakup speech for you guys. It's not what I'm saying. Here's my question to you, then I'll be done. What are you running from? God's calling you to do something because he doesn't stop. If you got air in your lungs, you're part of a mission on this earth to go after all the earth, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. That's the mission. What is God calling you to do? It could be as simple as talking to a coworker and as extravagant as stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm not here to tell you what it is, but I am here to tell you that wherever you're going, we want to go with you. We want to go together. I'm not saying it's not going to be messy. I'm not saying there's not going to be conversations. I'm not saying that everybody's not going to have a little bit of inconvenience. But trust me when I tell you, the greatest decisions I've ever made in my life have come when I have put God to the test on the outcomes of following him. And God has taken full responsibility every time, and it has always been better every single time. I have followed God into unknown, and God has made it 10 times better every time. God takes full responsibility for a life devoted to him.